You are carrying a crushing exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. You feel it right now, that heavy, restless tightness high up in your chest. But this drain isn't coming from the physical work you are doing. It is coming from the constant, agonizing performance of your own potential. Society has deeply misled you. You have been trained to believe that to succeed, you must loudly announce your moves, broadcast your vision, and hustle for the gallery's applause. But here is the ancient, mystical truth. The very act of speaking your plans aloud is the exact mechanism destroying them. Every time you announce an unwritten chapter, you puncture your own energetic vessel, bleeding out the sacred tension required to actually build your reality. You are trading your profound future for a cheap, momentary nod of approval. Stop for a moment. Take one deep, grounding breath with me. Leave the frantic chaos of the world at the door. If your spirit is desperate for a quiet harbor, subscribe to join this sanctuary. Then go to the comments and type the word Paz to physically anchor your energy today. Let them keep the noise. We are going back to the dark, where true power is forged. I feel the immense, invisible weight you are carrying. I notice the frantic, shallow breathing high up in your chest, the deep tightness resting in your shoulders, the quiet, persistent hum of exhaustion that never quite fades, even when you finally close your eyes at night. You are so deeply tired, tired of running out of time, tired of the endless, chaotic noise, tired of trying to keep pace with a modern world that demands you narrate every single step of your journey. Breathe in and just listen. Let us examine a moment you know entirely too well. It is late. The harsh, unnatural blue glow of the phone screen illuminates the dark corners of your room. In the stillness, a spark arrives. You are sitting with a brilliant, newly born idea, a vision of genuine inspiration. Perhaps it is a new business, a commitment to your health, a profound shift in your life's path. It is beautiful, and it is entirely yours. But notice the physical sensation that immediately follows. Notice the restlessness. Before you have even mapped out the necessary steps, before the fragile roots have had a chance to take hold in the dark soil of reality, your thumbs are already moving. They hover nervously over a keyboard, drafting a message to a friend, crafting an announcement for a timeline. You feel an overwhelming, almost uncontrollable urge to announce your next big move. You crave the immediate, comforting nod of approval before the very first brick is laid. And so, you hit send. You hand over your delicate, newly formed dream to a loud, distracted world. You wait. The tension builds in your jaw. Then, it arrives. The cheap, synthetic ping of a notification bell. The digital dopamine. "Congratulations," they say. "You've got this. I cannot wait to see what you do." For a fleeting, intoxicating second, you feel a rush of warmth, a sudden, soaring spike of pride. You feel seen. You feel powerful. But I want you to pay very close attention to the quiet hour that follows. You are sitting there, the glow of the screen fading into the background, and the burning desire to actually do the hard work has mysteriously vanished. There is a sudden, heavy, leaden feeling behind your eyes, a physical lethargy in your limbs that makes lifting a pen feel like lifting a stone. The fire is gone. You feel, strangely, as though you have already crossed the finish line. You have mistaken the breathless announcement of the journey for the agonizing, beautiful completion of the path. You shared your fragile, unformed dream because you believed it would bind you to others. You thought exposing your heart would build a bridge of connection and accountability, but look closely at what remains. Now, you feel tethered. You feel indebted to their gaze. Now, when a well-meaning peer casually asks over coffee, "So, how is that big project going?" you feel a subtle, sickening drop in your gut. You feel a hot, prickly flush of shame creeping up your neck because you have absolutely nothing tangible to show them. The joy of creation has mutated into the dread of the follow-up. Your pristine dream has become a heavy obligation, weighed down by the subtle, unspoken expectations of an audience you never truly needed. You believe you are simply sharing your life. You believe you are building a community around your goals, cultivating a network of support. But what if I told you, you are unknowingly participating in a grand theft of your own life force? What if the very act of speaking your plans aloud is the exact mechanism that guarantees they will never manifest in the physical realm? You are caught in a perfectly designed, modern trap. You are confusing visibility with progress. You are trading your profound potential for a momentary round of applause, and you do not yet realize that you are feeding your entire future to an illusion. Let us look deeper into this invisible theft. Let us examine the unseen currents of energy that flow through you and inevitably out of you. You sit down and spend an hour excitedly explaining your magnificent plans to a friend, a colleague, or a lover. You lean in, your hands move with passion. You believe you are generating momentum, but notice the quiet aftermath. Notice the feeling when you finally return to your workspace alone. There is a slow, silent deflation, exactly like breath escaping a punctured vessel. Your throat is dry from over-explaining, your mind is suddenly weary. The vibrant burning fire you held yesterday is entirely extinguished, replaced by a lingering dull apathy. The mystics and the ancient architects of reality understood a fundamental law that the modern world has entirely forgotten. Your life force is a closed circuit. Creation requires a terrifying amount of tension. It requires immense internal pressure to forge something out of nothing. When you speak prematurely, you puncture your own energetic container. You allow the necessary, concentrated voltage of creation to leak out into the ether as mere hot air. You have literally spoken your momentum out of existence, but the drain is not merely a loss of your own energy. It is also about what you invite in to replace it. Recall a moment when you eagerly shared your fragile vision and the response was not the applause you sought. Perhaps they responded with a subtly furrowed brow, a condescending tilt of the head, a hesitant, drawn-out sigh. Perhaps they offered an unsolicited lecture about the realistic risks, carefully disguised as love and concern. "Are you sure?" they asked softly. "That sounds incredibly difficult." Remember the sudden, icy plunge of your internal temperature in that exact second, the involuntary defensive tightening of your jaw, the feeling of the air being quietly sucked out of the room, and later, in the darkest, quietest hours of the night, the echo of their skeptical tone plays on a repetitive, intrusive loop in your mind. An unformed dream is highly porous. It has not yet grown its armor. When you expose it to the harsh elements of the world before it has solidified, you unwittingly open a door. You invite the unhealed fears, the quiet traumas, and the limiting beliefs of others to take root in your fertile, unguarded soil. Understand this. They are not assessing your capabilities. They are projecting their own limitations onto your limitless potential. And suddenly, your once beautiful, weightless vision feels impossibly heavy. And then there is the resistance, the sudden, inexplicable friction that arrives the moment your grandest goals become public. You feel it, do you not? The sensation of trying to sprint through waist-deep water, the persistent, cloudy fog that settles over your thoughts, paralyzing your focus. The strange phenomenon where sudden opportunities inexplicably fall through. You walk into a room and you feel a thick, heavy static in the air. People smile widely at your ambition, but their eyes remain distant, cold, disconnected. The ancients spoke often of the evil eye. Today, we dismiss it as folklore, a silly superstition to frighten children. But it is merely the ancient terminology for a very real, very measurable frequency, projected resentment, unconscious envy. When you broadcast your brilliant light, you inevitably and painfully illuminate the shadows of those around you. Your soaring ambition holds up a mirror to their deepest stagnation. Guarding your vision is not an act of paranoia, it is a mandatory act of spiritual hygiene. It protects your embryonic future from the low-frequency static of those who have long ago abandoned their own dreams. You are currently leaking your sacred power. You are absorbing their toxic doubt. You are slowly drowning in the invisible weight of 1,000 unsolicited judgments. To reclaim your sovereignty, to stop this bleeding of your spirit, you must relearn a forgotten language, a language not of words, but of profound, terrifying absence. I invite you right now to make a radical, beautiful choice. Step away from the noise, close the laptop, place the phone in a dark drawer, make a conscious, definitive vow to keep your next brilliant realization entirely, fiercely to yourself. Notice what happens in the very first moment you choose silence. Listen to the profound, ringing relief of a truly silent room. Feel the physical dropping of your shoulders, falling away from your ears where they have been pinned by anxiety and expectation. Listen to the deep, resonant sound of your own, uninterrupted exhale. Ah, there you are. I ask you to observe the quiet, ancient genius of the natural world. Look at the towering forests, the vast oceans, the turning of the seasons. All profound genesis in the physical realm requires one absolute, uncompromising condition: complete darkness. A seed does not announce its intention to break through the soil. It does not seek the validation of the sun before it begins its difficult work. It rests securely in the absolute black of the earth. It builds immense crushing pressure underground until it has no choice but to bloom. The womb, the cocoon, the deep soil. True gestation cannot survive the blinding harsh light of premature exposure. When you keep your intentions to yourself, you are not hiding. Silence is not retreat. Silence is power. It is the spiritual discipline of gestating your future. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting with an exciting breakthrough. The vision is so clear it vibrates in your mind. You feel that familiar burning itch creeping up your throat, the desperate habitual urge to tell someone, anyone. But this time, you consciously swallow the words, you close your mouth, and you watch carefully where that energy goes, because energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transmuted. Denied the easy, cheap escape route of speech, that massive voltage is forced to turn inward. Feel the sudden warming sensation centering deeply in your solar plexus. Feel the electric vibrating hum of focused power moving down your arms and into your hands. Notice the sharp, clean clarity of your eyes as they lock exclusively onto the task before you. This is the ancestral secret of the builders. Unspoken intentions create immense internal pressure, and this pressure is not anxiety, it is fuel. This is the true alchemy of manifestation. You are utilizing the suppressed urge to speak as the highly combustible fire required to actually build. You are no longer talking about the heat, you have become the furnace. And as you work within this sacred, secret space, something miraculous begins to shift within your spirit. Imagine completing your first major milestone in absolute unyielding secrecy. No one knows what you have done. No one is watching your progress. In that moment of pure clarity, a profound realization washes over you. You look at what your own hands have made, and you realize you do not need anyone else to validate it for it to be real. Notice the physical shift in your body right now. A quiet, entirely private smile touches the corners of your eyes. You feel the solid, immovable sensation of your feet, rooted firmly to the floor beneath you. Your heartbeat is steady, slow, completely unbothered by the opinions of the outside world. You have stopped outsourcing your self-worth to the gallery. You have severed the invisible, exhausting strings that tethered your self-esteem to the applause of distracted strangers. You have remembered that you are the undisputed master of your own frequency. Your own silent approval has become the only currency that matters. You have remembered how to gather your immense power in the dark. But maintaining this sovereign state, protecting this newly formed armor in a world designed to extract your attention, requires more than just a shift in mindset. It requires a physical anchor, a daily, intentional ritual to lock the gates you have just rebuilt. Are you ready to seal the vessel? Let us ground this profound realization into the physical world. Let us give your mind a tangible, daily anchor for this impenetrable new boundary. I want you to envision a simple, deliberate act, a daily ritual of intent. Imagine standing in your quiet kitchen as the sun begins to rise. You are brewing a cup of hot tea. You watch as the boiling water pours over the dark, dried leaves, releasing a sudden, fragrant cloud of steam into the chilly morning air. Normally, you would let it sit open. You would let the steam dissipate, carelessly allowing the heat to escape into the cold, leaving the brew weak and tepid. But today, you choose differently. Take a small porcelain saucer and place it deliberately over the rim of the cup. Listen to the satisfying, definitive clink of the ceramic sealing the vessel. Breathe in the rich, earthy scent of the herbs, now trapped tightly beneath that heavy lid. Place your palms gently against the outside of the cup. Feel the intense, concentrated heat radiating against your skin, growing stronger and more absolute with every passing second. In that sealed darkness, the water darkens. The extraction becomes incredibly potent. The physical world always mirrors the spiritual. By intentionally sealing this physical cup each morning, you are communicating directly with your deep subconscious. You are making a physical, binding vow. For the next 30 days, you will wrap your grandest plans in this same absolute silence. You will fiercely seal and protect your own energetic boundaries. You will not explain your choices. You will simply trap the heat. And as you adopt this practice, you begin to move very differently through your days. You wake up early, stepping into the still, indigo hours of the morning, long before the rest of the world has even opened its eyes to reach for their glowing screens. You enter your workspace with a secret, joyous focus. You are entirely undisturbed by external opinions, by the chaotic noise of the gallery. because no one even knows what you are doing. You have become a beautiful ghost in the machine. Listen to the rhythmic, uninterrupted scratching of your pen on paper. Notice the deep, slow rhythm of your breathing as you immerse yourself entirely in the craft. Feel the profound, lifting sensation of weightlessness in your chest. This is the rare, frictionless flow of deep, uninterrupted work. The master always moves in silence. Understand this truth. Moving in stealth is not about deception. It is not about hiding from the world out of fear or insecurity. Stealth is about preserving the absolute, untainted purity of your intent until your creation is strong enough to withstand the immense, crushing gravity of the world's opinions. You do not need to announce your boundaries to anyone. You simply enforce them. You do not need to post a cryptic update about your next massive project. You simply build it, brick by silent brick, in the quiet hours, until, finally, the day arrives. The work is finished. It is no longer a fragile idea, vulnerable to the shifting winds of public approval. It is self-evident. It is robust. It is undeniably, physically real. Feel the solid, undeniable weight of this finished creation resting firmly in your own two hands. Feel the serene, steady gaze you are able to hold when people finally, inevitably, notice what you have spent months building in the dark. Notice how your ego no longer craves their applause. There is no desperate need to defend the work. No need to breathlessly explain the agonizing process you endured. No need for a loud, dramatic announcement to validate its ultimate worth. You simply let out a slow, effortless, final exhale of completion. You place it before them, and you simply let it exist. The roar of an undeniable reality is far louder, far more deafening than the anxious whisper of a fragile plan. When the physical proof of your labor stands before them, there is nothing left for anyone to debate, to project upon, or to destroy. You do not need to convince anyone of your power ever again. You do not need to warn the world that it is going to rain, because you have become the storm. Drink your tea, keep the vessel closed, guard the heat, and let the silence build your empire.